Post it.
Yeah, pink's not my color.
Call the meeting to order at 5 p.m.
Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm loving the energy tonight. Loving it. Thank you, Michelle. Roll call. Let the record reflect that all members of the governing board and administrators are present. Approve of the agenda. It's recommended that the governing board approve the agenda of January 24th, 2022 governing board meeting. So I have a motion.
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0. Approval of minutes. Approval of the January 10th, 2022 regular meetings. I know Mr. Chong and Ms. Castaneda weren't here, so they'll be abstaining. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion passed 302. Hearing session. The audience members may request to address the board on an item on or off the agenda per board bylaws 9323. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the governing board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input to 20 minutes. The total time allowed for public comment shall be 30 minutes. Audience members wishing to address the board during the hearing session of the agenda should fill out a request to address the governing board form and turn it into the executive assistant prior to holding the hearing session. Dr. Miramontes.
Then we have no public.
Thank you. Moving on to board comments. We'll start with Mr. Chong.
Thank you. Good to be back. I hope everyone's healthy. It's not good being sick and back healthy and strong. So I just hope everyone continues to stay healthy, especially during these crazy times. Just want to comment on the outdoor science trip. I just saw some pictures and videos, and I want to say that was really great to see kids out experiencing and being in nature. They had snow, which is awesome. So I hope those kids had fun. It looked like the picture and videos were indicative of a lot of learning and a lot of fun. So thank you, Mr. Bagger, for the video, and just I hope everyone enjoyed that time. And mine short, just want to say that we're halfway mark, a little more than halfway. So I hope everyone endures and keeps going, and we're chug along and do the best we can, because it's very difficult sometimes when things aren't normal. So as we're getting close to normal, I hope everyone just hangs in there. And just want to say, keep mine short. That was all I have to say today.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. Ms. Castaneda.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Monday. I just want to comment how nice it was to hear the kids' voices say the Pledge of Allegiance right now. It was amazing. It's great. It's so great to have you guys back in here, and just like I said, the kiddos back in here. I did over the weekend on Saturday, did attend the with the city, the Rick Gomez Park opening, and it's a little pop-up park that opened up here on Western and 8th Street. It's beautiful. I recommend anybody who gets a chance to go and visit it and bring your little ones to play. It's a really great park, and it just got me so excited, and I can't wait for the Whitaker Park to open up. I mean, just to see the amazing things that they did with that little space. I mean, what they're going to do with the Whitaker Park. So it's really great. So I recommend, so please stop by and just have a great time right there. Mine's also kind of short. I did enjoy seeing the science camp pictures. They were great, seeing the kids enjoying their time, for them to be able to attend this time. So it was really great. And I can't wait for Corey Elementary's presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. Ms. Ahmad.
I also want to welcome all the Corey parents and staff. It is really nice. I know everyone's going to say the same thing, but literally we've been in this room alone, so it feels really good to see people. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing all the amazing things happening at Corey and with the amazing students we have there. I also want to thank our schools, our middle schools, for our sixth grade science camp. I think it's just a great opportunity that our district does this for our kids. They get to go there at no cost to them, and it just it's something that costs us a lot of money, but I'm glad that we prioritize that and that the kids, our students get a chance to do that. And I hope it's something that we do always. I was able to tour Emory School 2 weeks ago, and it was just so great. We walked into every single classroom, got to see all the kids learning. And you need to keep seeing that because, because of COVID, there's lots of things happening around the world, but literally they're all learning just the way they would if COVID wasn't around, and it's really just them wearing a mask. So it was great to see that and great to see lots of learning happening. And that's it for me for today.
Thanks so much. Michelle.
Thank you. I was also excited to see the outdoor science camp pictures from the sixth grade in the video. And Ms. Ahmad mentioned the expense, but it is so worth it. As a teacher, I went for at least 10 years with my sixth graders, and seeing them participate in the different courses and classes that they take there in a different environment, learning about all the things that they can't do in the classroom was beautiful to see. They not only learn more about their environment, but also about themselves and how to interact and support one another in a way that isn't possible on campus. So it just brought back fond memories, and I loved seeing our kids out there in the snow, which they loved too. I wanted to say that we're starting our second half of the year with a great start. I saw the iReady scores, and every grade has made growth. And that's something that we were really looking for, especially coming off of COVID and the pandemic shutdown and a reopening. But it was just so gratifying to see that all the professional development that I know the teachers and the staff have gone through recently, in the past year, I should say, has really paid off. And we see it with the students and with the teachers. They can be so confident in the job that they've done. And I know the parents appreciate the growth that their kids are making too. And even our classified staff, I mean, from our bus drivers to our cafeteria people, to the noon rec people, to our office staff, everybody that greets the kids and encourages them, inspires them to do their best. We appreciate everybody's help and support for that. So I wanted to thank everybody who had a part in that. And I also went to the park dedication for Rick Gomez. And it was so inspiring to walk the grounds because they have pictures and sayings, some of them that he would say to the kid. Well, he was a commissioner for Park and Rec, but he was also a coach for the teams. And I saw him for years, and he was a perfect example of what a coach would be, inspiring not only sports competition, but also how to live as a citizen in life. So it was beautiful to see that, and it's quite a tribute to him. And lastly, I'm so excited about Corey. My grandson Anthony was there for 7 years, and I love the school, and the teachers are great there. And I love that they have the mixed class with kids with special needs and kids in gen ed. And so there's so many great things about Corey, but I'm just excited to see what they're going to tell us tonight. And I'm so excited to see the kids. So I am, that's my report.
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to see crowd and having an audience, seeing students in here, seeing everybody. It's been a long time coming. So it's nice to see faces in here because, like Mr. Ma said, it is a little lonely, a little boring without a nice looking crowd like you guys out there. So thank you for coming by. We appreciate you being here. I want to start by thanking Dr. Simonowski and her team for working tirelessly with the newly released COVID recommendations and firmly placing streamline for contact tracing. So thank you very much for all that hard work. I know that work leads into the weekend and it takes away from your time, but we really appreciate everything that your team and everybody in the district is doing to making sure that we're streamlining everything as it should as they're coming out. So thank you. I know it was mentioned about the Whitaker Park. I want to thank the city of Buena Park for their collaboration. I know the park is going to add a lot of value to our school district, but also it's going to be impactful for our community. So they're going to be able to enjoy it as well. So that's a great collaboration. I know Mr. Box has been working, Mr. Corrado was working on the grant. Aaron France has been working with Dr. Miramontes. So I appreciate everything that's been going on with them. Another great partnership that I came across through our Friday report was dual enrollment for the Fullerton College. So we're gonna have 24 students enrolling in a gaming class, introduction to computer games. So that is really neat. That's a nice little introduction for them to start thinking about college while they're still in middle school. So it's something to look forward to. And then lastly, I do want to thank our entire board for the commitment to our students, our families, and the entire Buena Park district. Everybody takes time away from their families to be here and serve our community. So thank you very much for everything you do. And that concludes my report, Dr. Miramontes.
Thank you. Yeah. So many of you probably watched the football game this last weekend, right? Super exciting. You know, pretty soon we have the NFL Super Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl, and we also have the NFL draft coming up, right? And so there's a young talented player from the University of Virginia that played offensive tackle. He had played and started 49 games for the University of Virginia. He graduated with a master's and will be entering the draft as well. His name is Ryan Nelson. And I couldn't be prouder because I know that at Whitaker School, they're super proud because guess who went to Whitaker School? Ryan Nelson was a graduate of Whitaker School. Ryan Nelson was a graduate of Buena Park Junior High, what was a junior high school. And Ryan Nelson was a student at Buena Park High School. He was a Coyote as well. Ryan's also he's been connected with Stephanie Williamson, the principal there, through their staff members. I guess half the school is now claiming Ryan, right? But Ryan is going to zoom in with students and talk about his journey. So I think that is a powerful movement about the things that happen in Buena Park. So congratulations, Ryan. And I get a little touched when I hear things about our community. So last week, I also had the pleasure of visiting classrooms at Pendleton School and Whitaker schools. We visited all the special day classrooms. We were specific for those that trip there for both sites. Dr. Cantu, Mrs. Centeno, Mrs. Wong joined me. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to see the great things happening night and day. Night and day, what's happening from the start of the school year. And then it was all tough for all of us. Right? We've been out of the classroom for a while, but what we saw just after the holidays was fantastic. So I'm very proud of the staffs there. And I wish, I wish our students for that. I want to thank our students for their efforts and our staff for the commitment to make sure that all students are successful. Yes, you guys have mentioned on the agenda tonight is the Whitaker Park project. It's a $2 million plus grant that was given to us by the state, not us, Buena Park, City of Buena Park, but it's been a great partnership. Aaron France and his staff, Aaron France is our city manager. We've been talking for a while about this, right? It's not going to cost the city and it's not going to cost the district a dime, but it is going to enhance the Whitaker area, Whitaker school area, and they're in need of parks. Buena Park needs additional parks. So it's going to be a great opportunity. We will be showcasing what that looks like. So on a visual, we'll put that on the website where pending board action tonight and pending city council action tomorrow, we'll be able to publicize that together. So we're really looking forward to that. And then most importantly, I think they took my thunder. It was exciting to hear, I mean, the hairs on my back of my neck, hearing the students. I want everybody to stop talking and just listen to the students say the Pledge of Allegiance because it's been too long. So welcome Corey School, welcome Mrs. Ortega and staff. I'm representing today, so thank you for, I know somebody who knows somebody, Corey, right? And I look forward to hearing your guys' report. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Miramontes. Moving on to program and reports. Arthur F. Corey School Report. Dr. Miramontes.
All right, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Cantu, who's going to introduce our speaker.
Exceptional schools. And we start to see these reports, you know that our students and our teachers are the heart of our district. Tonight, as we've all noticed, we have students among us. And so we will be recognizing students for their achievement and their efforts and the values of our district. Then Principal Ortega will also give you the highlights of Corey School, what makes it unique. They've worked extremely hard on their workshop for language arts, moving into CGI, and they've done so in a collaborative way that keeps an eye on the data. They know who their students are. It's not numbers, it's faces. They know that their teachers, and we know that their teachers, continue to work hard to continuously improve their instructional program. And one of the things that you'll also notice today, that they not only do so with the professional development that's been provided by the district, they've gone beyond to really investigate the needs of the students, that the teachers are now looking to see how they can fill those needs through site-based staff development, as well as really diving into their own ideas and wants for their students through book talks. So I'd like to present to you Principal Ortega, who will go into more detail about the uniqueness of Corey Elementary School.
So first, I'd like to say good evening to the Buena Park School District Governing Board. Thank you for having me tonight, as well as Superintendent Dr. Miramontes, cabinet members, community guests. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say a big shout out and thank you to the Corey community that showed up tonight, my students, parents, and staff members. Thank you so much for supporting me as I really showcase what you've done all year long, from August until now. So are we starting with our presentation or my students?
With our students. It's been a while since we've done this. Typically, we go through this first,
Okay,
so the parents actually see the presentation.
you got it.
So they don't get the certificate and walk out the door.
You got it. You got it. I mean, they'd never do that to me anyway. They're here to support.
And I do want to recognize, I mean, when Dr. Cantu said our teachers, she really refers to every adult on that campus, from the custodian, and I know this staff really, really well, right? Everybody there is a teacher, supervision aides, classified aides, everybody there has a part in the success of this school. So I want to make sure that people understand that, because I think it's important to recognize everyone on that campus. So I didn't want to, somebody think the teachers is, we are all teachers up here, right? So just wanted to throw that out there. All right, Mrs. Ortega, you're on.
All right. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so oftentimes in education, we begin with our why or our purpose. And like Dr. Simonovsky often says, remembering our core, who we are and why we do what we do. So tonight, I'd like to walk you through our journey towards our purpose as we aspire to move mountains, build bridges, and change the world one lesson at a time. Next slide. So last year, if you recall, board recalls, I talked about our Corey top 3. Well, this year we have our Corey core, and we've got 4 areas that we've been working really hard at in order to address the social, emotional, and instructional needs of our students. So data-driven professional learning teams, cognitively guided instruction in math, or CGI, a spotlight on social emotional learning through visual and performing arts, virtual visual and performing arts, and the power of classroom talk to establish community and belonging, or reestablish community and belonging. Slide, please. So let's begin with a little bit of our data. So we're a firm believer at Corey School that growth must be celebrated. And so as you can see from diagnostic 1 to diagnostic 2, with diagnostic 1 being the blue and diagnostic 2 being the yellow, the most important thing that we see here, one of the most important things that I'd like for you to notice, is our tier 3. We can see that tier 3 is decreasing, where we have tier 1 and tier 1 growing. And so what is that telling us? That's telling us that students who are 2 or more grade levels below they are gaining skills over time. And we are growing students who are demonstrating mastery and proficiency in skill in reading for this particular piece of data. So you might be asking yourselves, well, how are we doing this? Next slide, please. How are we working towards growth? So this year we are a committed workshop school, but we committed to focusing our efforts on conferences. The power and the magic in workshop lies in that one-on-one individualized instruction that happens only when a teacher can meet with their student and have a conversation one-on-one and develop goals and really have those teachable moments. So what does our focus look like? It looks like a deeper understanding of individual students. So this might be not just what skills the students know or what concepts they understand or don't understand, but it really is, who is this student at the core? Not just their data, who are they as a person? What types of books do they like to read? What gets them excited? And so conferring allows us to do that. It's individualized and a prescriptive approach to instruction. It provides assessment-based guidance, time to offer guided practice and feedback, and supports student self-reflection. And it's time to teach the reader. And that's really important for us. Next slide, please. So in the area of math, and I've got a lot to say about math. We've taken on some huge endeavors this year, but celebrating growth in math is really important. Again, as you can see from Diagnostic 1 to Diagnostic 2, we're seeing some major gains in the area of Tier 1, which is our students who are performing proficient or advanced. And we're seeing major decreases in the area of Tier 3, which are students who are 2 grade levels below or more. So this tells us that we are doing something right in the area of Tier 1 instruction. And what does that look like? Well, the next slide will tell you. So how do we do this? Well, when I heard that our district initiative last year was going to be a spotlight on cognitively guided instruction in math, I was so excited because we had a Coatson fellow who was focusing on CGI. And every time I walked through her classroom, I could see the magic that was happening. I could see students thinking, I could see all of these wonderful dialogues happening in her classroom. And I got really excited. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is great for Coatson sustainability, but it's also going to be great for kids because we know that coming back from distance learning, our students have been sitting on the other side of a screen, or because they had only been with us for a certain amount of the day, not the full instructional day, there was going to be this need for expressing opportunities to express their thinking around math. And so what did the data tell us? The data told us that we needed a little bit of help in math. We needed to strengthen some of our instructional practices in math. So we were really excited about CGI. And luckily my staff, they drank the CGI Kool-Aid with me. So I'm super grateful. So what is CGI? It's research-based. It's a framework that helps teachers to understand how the mathematical ideas of students develop, right? It provides an opportunity for students' own thinking and understanding. And it's a way, CGI is a way of thinking and understanding that all students come to school with mathematical knowledge and experience. So we know that all of our students, they come to the proverbial educational table with some math skills. But what do we do when they get there, right? What do we do with those skills? And that's what we dug a little deeper into with CGI. Next slide, please. So before we even got to the professional development piece, it was really important for the educators in the room to tell me as a part of their leadership team for this instructional shift, what is it that they needed? So this all started with teacher feedback, right? They drank the Kool-Aid with me. They told me that this was going to happen, that they were going to be on board with this. But I really gave them the task of telling me, well, if we implement this, and when we implement this, what do you need in order to be successful? So the first thing that they needed was professional development, and the Educational Services Department, they had already planned some professional development, but we wanted to dive a little deeper because we knew that we wanted to not just dip our toe into CGI, but we wanted to jump right into the pool. So we started in June of last year off the heels of our district professional development. And we did some work with Angela Turow out of UCLA. So here you can see some snapshots of what that looked like. We were still on Zoom and she was throwing a lot at us, but it was exciting and it was scary, but we knew that it was going to be good for kids. And I want to point out there that I was there the whole time and it made me feel uncomfortable, right? Because it was an instructional shift for me, my belief in math and how math was taught. And so one of those pictures is actually a collection that I actually sorted. So I was pretty proud of that. And I only got so far, and Angela used me as an example of, what happens when you get stuck? And it was okay because I had a vulnerable moment with math. And so it happened. It's going to happen. We're going to have those vulnerable moments, and that's okay. So next slide, please. Coming off of the heels of professional development, we also have very deliberate and focused collaboration and planning opportunities. And so again, through the Department of Educational Services, taking advantage of demo lessons, but then really identifying, again, through teacher feedback, now that we've started this, now that we've had some professional development, what do you need next? And so our next step was, once we have these demo lessons, we need some planning and collaboration time around it. And so there was a lot of wonderful things that came out of that. Next slide, please. It really enhanced our professional learning community. One thing that we focused on at Corey was providing built-in during the instructional day professional learning team times where grade levels could meet and do the collaboration and planning work. Because this is important work and we wanted to prioritize it. So you might be saying, okay, Principal Ortega, well, what did you do with that time? Well, during that time, we took the Buena Park School District Essential Standards and we identified learning targets. Once we identified those learning targets, we were then able to, teachers in grade levels were able to create year at a glance or trimester pacing, basically plans, right? And then from there, they were able to create math stories. And then from there, create common formative assessments and summative assessments. Because what we wanted to do was to ensure that we had an assessment component so that we could have data to drive future instruction and drive future planning. So that was really important to us. Most of this work comes off the heels of the professional development that we have done with Dr. Cruz. So really taking that work on professional learning community seriously and taking it to the next level at the site. Okay, the next slide. And so what are some of our shining moments during our CGI implementation? Is when we see students sharing their thinking, when they're huddled up in their groups, when they are explaining their math thinking to a peer, or when they're explaining it to, like Dr. Miramontes said, that everyone on our campus is a teacher. And so I didn't tell Ms. Kleisel that she was in my presentation, but feel free to text her and let her know. But she's here and she has a student who is one of our full inclusion students who is explaining their math thinking to her. And it's a wonderful thing when you start to hear students speak about math and how their thinking is developing and changing over time. So that's something very powerful to see. Next slide, please. And then another facet of CGI is our counting collections. Our students get so excited. I can tell you that first graders do counting collections on Wednesdays and Fridays. And when you go in to see them counting their collections, it is amazing to see students grouping, sorting, categorizing things, and then counting them in different number sets, doing it in a lot of different ways, and actually talking about it, talking about their collection, and verbalizing this math. It's very exciting to see. Next slide. Okay. And then this is probably one of my most recent classroom visits, and this is a 5th grade classroom where a student had been out for a period of time and she needed to come back, and there are student experts in the classroom. So she had her peers teaching her a skill that she had missed when she was gone. And so this is one of the most powerful things that you can see is when our students move from being the learner to then being the teacher. And it's very empowering for both the students who is receiving that peer support, but also the student that's doing the teaching. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then another piece of our data is a highlight from our Panorama Survey. So one area that Corey really shines is our supportive relationship, how our students perceive supportive relationships at our school. And so when they first took the Panorama Survey, it was during distance learning, and we can see that from the winter of last year through the fall of this year, there's been an increase on supportive relationships. And, I give credit to the fact that, we, opened our doors and we've come back to full-time instruction, and our students are really able to make those connections with their peers, but also the adults at school. And so I have to credit my staff because they do a wonderful job. Our certificated and classified staff do a wonderful job of connecting with students and humanizing their relationships. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get to our book study. But next slide, please. In addition to just the relationship piece, our school counselor plays a huge role in developing the relationships that our students have with each other and their teachers. So I'd be remiss if I didn't include that our counselor has instituted our new student group, friendship groups, social skills groups. And then I'd also like to include our Corey Spirit Squad, which is new this year. And they share all kinds of spirit activities. They run them as students, and they really cultivate an awareness that school is a community and it's a place where we can all thrive together. And so they really enjoy seeing the adults get involved. And I think that only adds to our data for that particular piece on Panorama. Next slide. And then virtual VAPA with an SEL focus. This year, we've done more of virtual experiences to keep visual and performing arts alive at Corey School. We had on stage at the center, we had 3 virtual shows. The Carp Who Would Not Quit was all about perseverance. Leonardo and Sam was all about conquering fears. And the Dreamers, that was about strength and hope in differences, being different. So really being deliberate and intentional about what type of visual and performing arts exposure we give to our students. And this year was an SEL focus. Okay. Next slide. Okay. And so for our book study, we've continued book study at Corey School to develop and grow as professionals in the world of teaching. And so this year, unlocking the power of classroom talk has been our focus. And so what have we learned since we started reading this book? Well, classroom talk is a skill, right? We all know how to talk, but we can't take for granted that in certain settings, it is a skill that must be deliberately taught. Classroom talk again is deliberately taught, and classroom talk builds community and relationship. So one of the things that we focused on, and we've been trying on the work of humanizing teacher and student relationships by taking the talk out of academics and into real life things. What are the things that interest me as an adult that I can share with my students so they can see me as a person? And how can I listen to them and allow opportunity for them to talk, to show me who they are as a person? And so what we know is that it's extremely important and essential to the work that we do now, because post-distance learning, we know that our students need to be heard. We know that they want to be heard, and this is our way of addressing that need. Okay, and the next slide. So I'll leave you with this quote, our purpose. Our purpose of education is to create in a person the ability to look at the world for himself and make his own decisions. James Baldwin. So this is an important quote in the work that we're doing at Corey School, because we know that we are preparing students that are in our classrooms, walking our halls, in our playground, in our library, to be active members in the Buena Park community, in California, in the world. And we want them to know that their voice is powerful and they have the ability to think and to make decisions that can change their community for the better. Thank you.
I just got to say, love the presentation. I was looking forward to it, coming into tonight. I heard a lot of great things coming from the presentation. There's human connection. you're empowering your staff, and whatever you're implementing is infectious, and I can see the change within your, school and the students being here. So thank you very much for everything you do. And by the way, just adding the book club, I think that's a nice little touch, because, everybody can come out of it with something different. But just, it leads back to the human connection. We want to be able to connect with our students. We want to be able to connect with our staff, because that's the only way that we're going to help our schools grow. So thank you very much.
I'd like to add a comment on that. Like, this is totally fills my professional bucket. Usually, when you do a school report, people like to do the shiny and like, oh, we did this, we got this award. And, you don't like to make learning and teaching sexy. It's not easy to make it look shiny. It's very evident your school, Corey School, has teaching and learning down. No one would take CGI as their goal for the year and say, hey, we're going to make this our goal and do it well. And seeing the report, the data already supports it, and just the culture and the atmosphere. I'm sure if you had a bigger room, it'd probably be packed with everybody from your school being here. So I want to thank you because, CGI is not easy. Math is not easy. Math is not loved usually. Most people will say math is the least favorite subject or scary. And so I'm a math person and I appreciate the focus. And it was very evident on that. So I just want to give kudos to you guys for not having to, coming out of pandemic, sharing something that, is easy. And you guys tackled a lot of things that are very difficult. So I just want to throw kudos to both the leadership and the staff and the community, because that's really cool.
I want to comment too on CGI, and it's really great to see it in the presentation and to hear about it and to see the results and everything. But I did tour Corey a while back, and I saw CGI in action in the classroom, and to see it in person, it's amazing. And for you guys to just take it on, it's just so wonderful. It's to see the kids to be able to know that they can do different strategies to get to the results, and knowing that their strategy is valued, it's important, and it's one way that they can do it. It helps them confidently, take on math, because like Jason said, math is not easy for everyone. It's one of the hardest subjects out there, and it scares kids. They get scared at a young age. They're going to be scared. They're going to be thinking, I'm not good at math. I can't do it. When I was taught math, it was one way and that was it, and it was like, if you didn't get it, oh, well, and so now to see that the kids, and like right here, I could see Emilio skip counting, marks equal groups, their own little ways of being to do math gives them that confidence. So what you guys are doing is amazing, because it's something that they're going to take on with them forever. So it's great. So thank you.
I'd just like to mention that when we did that tour,
Yeah.
you gave us the book and I read it.
It's a
and
great read.
It was a great
Yeah.
read. And I just want to thank you, like, for our students that have, had 2 years of them being told to be muted. And you guys are all giving them a voice. So thank you so much for that.
Let me not be remiss and say something. We are so proud of you and your staff and our families at Corey and our students. You guys are doing an excellent job. Keep up with the work, the hard work.
Yeah.
So good work.
Before we move on to the student presentation, can I just have, because we're going to honor the students, that's why we're here today. But can I have every staff member from Corey School stand up? Let's give them a round of applause. And now let's turn it over to Mrs. Ortega to talk about the students that we're here to recognize, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we are here to also recognize some amazing scholars this evening. These young scholars have been nominated by their grade level, and they exemplify Corey's pillars of work, respect, and belong. Each of these young students is a model to their peers, and we are very proud of their efforts and their achievements this school year. So we honor you tonight. Thank you. Okay, so first up, Calvin Hansen.
Who's class you in, Calvin? Who's your teacher?
Mrs. Mendez's class. Next, Avery Porter from Mrs. Biner's class. Avery's not here. Okay, next up, we have Jack Rodriguez from Mrs. Evans' class. And then we have Lele Ato from Miss Velaz's class. All right. And we have Javier Toscano from Miss Bergstrom's class. We have Kamora Daly from Mr. Malden's class. And last but not least, Danica Martinez from Mrs. Earhart's class.
I'm gonna ask that, parents, you're welcome to come up to the front here, but I'm gonna ask the board, come on over to take a picture. So let's take a quick picture with the board. And parents, you're welcome to get up, or anybody wants to sit front, do the Justin Bieber, social media people here. Go. Yeah, I just never know. All right, we're gonna get the board out, we're gonna bring staff on. Come on. Forward back over here. Let's give these students another big round of applause. But on behalf of our board, we want to thank you for being here. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or if you'd like to go home, you're welcome to. This will be the time to go.
Good job.
All right.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Ortega. And by the way, before you leave, I just want to say you just set the bar for the remainder of the reports coming up for the school year. So thank you very much.
Good night.
You too. All right, so that was a great school report and ceremony for our students. Let's move on to governing board recognition.
Yeah, so I like to thank our board every single day. I'm so blessed to have such a great board, but I know annually we do this official recognition of our board. Tonight's the night. I'll start off with Lori Cannon, our president from CSCA, classified staff. Lori?
Oh my goodness, I forgot it was today. I should have stayed home.
You guys really have to put the pictures up. Oh, I really have to put the pictures.
Hi, everybody. I'm the newly elected CSCA president for chapter 569.
Congratulations again.
So I know we all wear many hats. This is going to be one of mine. Just a little note, CSCA knows
Thank
that your job may not be easy. People may not like your decisions. However, we all understand that a good pat on the back goes a long way. So this is our way of saying thank you for the job that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And as you can see on your little cards, I didn't bring my extra one, but CSCA would like to say sip, sip, hooray, and your coffee is on us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leadership from BPTA couldn't be here tonight, but they did pass along a message that Mr. Harrison, our Chief Press Officer, will read off. Mr. Harrison?
Yes, on behalf of the BPTA Executive Board and to show our appreciation during Governing Board Member Appreciation Week, the Buena Park Teachers Association would like to present our board members with a small gift. BPTA would like to thank our governing board members for all their hard work and service to our students, families, and district. Thank you from all of us on behalf of the BPTA Executive Board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Should be free.
And from Bitmower, Buena Park Management Organization, we have Leslie Ramirez, principal from Gilbert School.
So shorter than Russell. Good evening, board president, board members, superintendent Dr. Miramontes, cabinet members, and guests. As you know, January is School Board Recognition Month. On behalf of the management team, we would like to thank you for your time, dedication, and the countless things you do for the Buena Park School District learning community. Mr. Chong, during month 3, you recognized that it probably felt like month 9. And as you know, it currently feels like 2020. Thank you for recognizing our current reality. Mr. Frutos, thank you for consistently recognizing when our district is ahead in implementation in different areas. Ms. Castañeda, thank you for always reminding us that the work we do for our students is a team effort of teachers, staff, students, and parents. Ms. Shedd, thank you for highlighting the improvements you see in each school visit. Ms. Ahmad, thank you for consistently celebrating the instructional practices you see in classrooms. I'd like to note that was in alignment with today's comments, all of those things. Once again, thank you for all you do for our students, staff, and families. Please accept this small token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys too. Thank you. I'd like to comment, the picture is like 20 pounds ago.
I can't even tell. I can recognize myself.
The party's not over yet. I know our chiefs want to also honor you. Sandy Potee, our Chief Financial Officer.
So we also, on behalf of the chiefs, would like to thank you for your service and time that you provide to the district, your guidance and direction to the staff. So we thank you and appreciate all that you provide. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And lastly, I'm just going to read something here that I just wrote some things down about our board. So I wanted to thank you all for your efforts and dedication in moving our school district forward, our students and families, and our staffs. And you have all been through a lot this last year. I used to tell my colleagues about our wonderful board. When you were all first elected, I was so excited about just the diversity and your commitment to the board, right? When they would ask me, how is your board doing, right? I would say it over and over. Through these last 2 years, I've learned to share other things. The one thing I do share now is when people ask me about my board, you know, I go back to a quote, one of my favorite quote is, I'm so proud when I define my board as being strong and courageous, because you guys have led through very different times than most other board members. We took on some things at the very beginning that needed to be taken on, but then layered on top of that, what we're dealing with right now. So, you know, continue to be strong and courageous. You have given and continue giving. You lead and you continue to lead, and you continue to support the Buena Park community. So thank you, and I have a little token of appreciation. And I did this, I didn't do anything. There you go.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to verify this one later.
Thank you, guys. And that concludes our board recognition. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Menendez. I just want to say thank you to all the associations, management, chiefs, everybody that supports us. I know the decisions that we make are not easy, but I always say we're always a team. We're all in it together. And that's the only way that we're going to move forward. So thank you very much for acknowledging the work that we do, but at the same time, we do acknowledge the work that you guys do every single day here in our district. So thank you very much. So we'll be moving on to action calendar. Resolution number 2119, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Buena Park School District adjusting trustee area boundaries from which district governing board members will be elected. It is recommended that the governing board review and select the draft map for adoption approval of resolution number 21 through 19. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Buena Park School District adjusting trustee area boundaries from which district governing board members will be elected. Dr. Miramontes.
Yeah, as mentioned in the previous, discussion of the board meeting, the board must take action on the adjustment trustee area boundaries for the 2022 election. We had our legal counsel and our demographer provide the board with the information. All three maps have been posted on our website for public view. It's now time for the board to select one and vote on the resolution. And we do have our legal counsel and demographer on the line, should you have any questions.
Good evening, board. This is Shirley Stuff, and are you ready for me to start?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and if we could go ahead and get to the first part of the PowerPoint. All right. And go ahead and go on to the next slide. I want to remind the board that we are, this is our second hearing to consider readjusting the boundaries by which we elect the board. We did meet last on January 10th. This is the second opportunity, January 24th, and the maps must be adopted by February 28th. Next slide, please. The law requires that we must, after every census, readjust the district boundaries to be nearly equal in population. They don't have to be exactly equal, but within 10% deviation. So the greatest populated district and the least populated district can be no difference of 10% between the two. We also can't draw lines solely based on race. Race can be a factor, but not the only factor. And we can't draw lines that would minimize the voting strength of our protected class. There are other principles that we must follow, or we should follow: communities of interest. Those are neighborhoods, share similar socio and economic interests and other cultural and perhaps language interests, compactness, contiguousness, physical boundaries. We talk about respecting voters' choices, continuity in office. What that means is if we can draw boundaries that avoid pairing trustees in the same district, then we will present that option. We can slightly underpopulated area. We know there's going to be future growth. We can also consider the number of voters that are shifted to a different election years and preserving the core of the election year. Next slide, please. Here are the existing district boundaries, which actually are good boundaries as far as meeting the traditional principles. However, when we look at District 1 does not quite achieve a majority Latino district. Next slide.
Next slide, okay.
This is a demographic summary of the existing district. So you can see over on the right-hand column, the third category down is the percent deviation from the ideal. And we are at 11.35%, meaning for these populated districts, which is in this case, district number 5, and when compare it to district number 2, which is the greatest populated district, those percentages add up greater than 10%. So, so we cannot adopt these districts in their present state. Also, when you look at the bottom category, the citizen voting age population, this is an important category. This is the category that those who are looking to see how the district lines were drawn, if they're drawn to empower or to give more voting strength to the protected class. They also will look for a percentage that is 50% or higher. I mentioned District 1 in our existing plan is at 47%. But we do know that we were able to draw those district boundaries to achieve a 50% plus is what the federal courts will look for, and also proponents of wanting to increase voting strength of our protected classes. Go on to the next slide. So presented for you tonight are 3 draft maps. Large part because it keeps most of the geography of the existing districts in place. That's what we disrupted for the voters, yet respecting and also trying to draw District 1 that would have a higher concentration of our citizens, of our Latino citizen voting age population. Next slide. The green map here is, and you can see on the map on the right-hand side, the red dotted lines are the existing districts. You can see that the difference, the main difference in the green map is in District 3, the Los Coyotes district, and it's largely the difference is that it drops below Stage Road and picks up that far left corner. The northwest corner or southwest corner of District 3. District 2 has been modified just to pick up again some of the higher concentrated areas of the citizen voting age population, and its most northern border in this map is Artesia. Next slide. Now the maps that I'm showing you here, the purple, the green, the orange, and the purple, they all do achieve the proper deviation, so it's all under 10%, and they all do have its District 1 being at 15% or more. For this orange map, this is an example, it's at 53%. For the orange map, there's just a little bit different treatment of the Los Coyotes district, and the boundary has been goes down and picks up all of Summer Tree Village, whereas the existing map cut off a portion of that Summer Tree Village area. And it also does include Rock Ridge Drive. Just some slight changes in the boundaries for District 1. It does not extend further west than Western Avenue. Next slide, please. And then we have the purple map, the Los Coyotes area retains the Rockledge Drive cutout area, but it does extend down and pick up the area around the train station, the housing immediately around the train station. Just a little bit different treatment in District 1, again, to achieve that, to keep those neighborhoods together and also achieve the higher Latino citizen population. Next slide. I know this is small, but this is for purposes of discussion. We do have an interactive map tour. We can go and zoom in very closely to the street if that's the interest of the board. The election sequencing will remain the same as it is. The trustee areas 1, 2, and 5 will be up in 2022, and trustee areas 3 and 4 are up in 2024. And that concludes my presentation. So at this point, I would turn it back over to the board for discussion and for selection for that. Happy to answer.
Recommendation on what, just a discussion of what would go off of beyond just the guidelines they gave at the beginning. I mean,
Basically just our, recommendation, what you prefer. Is there one that stands out to you more than the others?
I don't know if there was a question that was posed to me, but I can't hear you on the phone, so I have to go.
No, it's just it's a board, discussion and then a motion being made about, I think the good thing or the great thing is all of you are in your own trustee areas. And the shifting of what a demographer had done, independently was the shifting of a couple of streets here and there. And they try to use natural boundaries, right? They always try to use natural boundaries, whether it's the golf course, train tracks, major arteries. They just try and keep it as simple as possible, the least amount of movement. And then like communities, and of course you mentioned trustee area with Latino and trustee area with Asian, which are two largest minority groups in one park.
Are we gonna have another demographer for 2022?
Nope, this is until the end of 2030 when the next census comes out.
Yeah.
So every 10 years.
This is every census. To me, the green map seems like it divides the community, like communities, like households.
That's what I was thinking.
And then there is between 1 and 2, the steps just seem a bit more, if parents would want to see, it's more clear.
Yeah, it's a little more condensed. I see what you're saying in that green. Can you go to the green map, please? Mike? The green map there. I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
the steps that are there are-
between, Rhodia's and Jason's area, trustee area 1 and 2. Yeah, this is a little more condensed, more of a box for Rhodia, and then you follow Malvern. I think that's what this is a modern mention. You follow Malvern all the way up, comes back down, hit Stage Road, and that community is what you're saying is like the Emory community. I think
Like, yeah,
that those students also attend Emory School as well.
there, yeah.
I'm okay with the green map.
Somebody
Mine too.
make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to go with the green map as our redistricting.
I'll second.
Is there a resolution there, Aaron? That we need to-
Commissioner
Do we need
Sean?
more?
Roll call.
Ms. Strong was she made the motion. Mr. Cassandra, you made second.
Yeah, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0.
So the
Do we
motion
need roll call?
passes 5-0 for the green map. Is
For the
that
green-
correct?
For the green map, okay.
Okay, I do want to thank our demographer, Shalise, and I know Ron Winkart's on the phone as well. So thank you both for being here with us. and walking us through this process.
You need to do the roll call.
We need a roll call.
Yeah, we do need roll call.
I'm a yes on the green map.
Mr. Chong,
I am a yes on the green map.
Ms. Castaneda,
I'm a yes.
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so 5-0. Moving on to approval to release and publicize the 2021-2022 school accountability report card. It is recommended that the governing board approve and release the publicize the 2021-2022 school accountability report card for Corey Elementary, Emory Elementary, Gilbert Elementary School, Pendleton Elementary School, Whitaker Elementary School, Beatty Middle School, and Winter Park Middle School. Do I have a motion, or Dr. Miramontes?
Yeah, so annually we provide this opportunity to the community. Put that report card out there, the school accountability report card that will be released once the board takes action. I'd like to thank all the principals and Mrs. Santana for their efforts with updating the SART and of course.
Do I have a motion?
One motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chong.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Shedd. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, motion passes 5-0. Disposal of obsolete Houghton Mifflin English Language Development Program materials adopted 2012. It is recommended that the governing board approve the disposal of the obsolete Houghton Mifflin English Language Development Program materials adopted in 2012. Dr. Miramontes.
Yeah, recently the board took action to purchase new ELD materials, so we collect these materials and we'd like to surplus them and dispose of them.
I motion to dispose.
Thank you, Ms. Chong. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Amon. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, motion passes 5-0. Adoption of license agreement between the Buena Park School District and the city of Buena Park, providing for joint use real property for park and recreational purposes, James A. Whitaker Elementary School. It is recommended that the governing board adopt the license agreement between the Buena Park School District and the city of Buena Park, providing for joint use of real property for park and recreation purposes, James A. Whitaker Elementary School Park. Dr. Miramontes.
As we've mentioned, almost like the last year, it seems like, the park is going to benefit, but not only one park, but the community specifically. I'm asking the board to approve the license agreement with Whitaker Park Project with the city of Buena Park. I do want to thank Mr. Mike Magbu and Senator Poti for their effort to make sure that all the dots were dotted, all the i's were dotted, and the t's were crossed. And just so you know, as I mentioned earlier, this is going to the council meeting. They're excited about this tomorrow night, so we can get started on that part. I'm asking the board for approval.
Yeah, can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Oh, everybody's fighting for this one. Hold on. I think I heard Ms. Shedd first on
No
this
one
one.
wanted to dispose, but they wanted to. Okay.
Ms. Shedd, may I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Woohoo.
Yes. Approval of sale and disposal of surplus or obsolete vehicles. It is recommended that the governing board declare aforementioned item surplus as described and dispose of them according with board policy 3270 and education code sections 17545 and 17546. Dr. Miramontes.
Well, the next two items have to do with disposal of surplus and obsolete vehicles and technology. I'm asking the board to approve both of these individually, that is, but I do want to thank Mr. Magwood and his staff for, again, dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's to make sure we did this correctly. And Sandy's team for reassuring that we dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's. That quality assurance.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0.
I motion to approve the sale of the technology surplus.
We'll put that for discussion, Mr. Chong. Approval of sale or disposal of surplus technology items. It is recommended that the governing board declare the aforementioned item surplus as described and dispose of them in accordance with the board policy 3270 and education code section 17545 and of 546, Dr. Miramontes.
Yeah, we just would like to get the board's approval to dispose of surplus technology.
Motion.
I make a motion.
Thank you,
I'll
Mr. Chong.
second.
Thank you, Ms. Shedd. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0. Discussion calendar, board policy adoption, review, revision, deletion. Dr. Miramontes.
I want to thank Aaron McPhillips for going through everything that needs to be updated. And you had the packet in front of the report, so I'll post it online regarding the revisions there. We've been practicing not what we preach, but for years, and prior to me, prior to all of you, we had changed over from 6 o'clock to 5 o'clock, right? But our board bylaws still say 6 o'clock. So we're cleaning this up. I do also want to mention that I did have a board member Shed, if it's okay if I share. She had requested, sometime in February, we bring this back. Well, not necessarily this piece here, but bring back the file of going to one meeting a month. So we'll have that on the discussion for the next one. When we're able to, she'd mentioned it, if we have to meet twice, we meet twice, but so she had that request, so I just wanted to bring it forward for discussion. But I just want to let you know, and again, thank Erin McPhillips for all her efforts to make sure that we are compliant with CSBA bylaws, the mothership CSBA. Any questions regarding the bylaws?
For keeping us in line with everything we have going on. So thank you very much. Consent calendar, unless a trustee has questions concerning a particular item and asks that it be withdrawn from the consent calendar, the items are approved at one time by the governing board. Mr. Chong?
I have nothing to.
Ms. Castaneda?
I have nothing.
Ms. Shedd?
No.
Mr. Ahmad?
I have nothing.
And I have nothing. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Chong.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0. Information and correspondence, major topics, 2021, 2022. Dr. Miramontes.
Yes, at our next board meeting, I believe it's February 15th, we have the Tuesday, remind you that we've got Monday off, the holiday. We have Charles E. Emery School Report, a facilities modernization update, and then the audit report, of course, for the board to actually see.
Moving on to closed session, conference with Dr. Ramon Miramontes, Superintendent of the Buena Park School District, Russell Harrison, Chief Personnel Officer, Sandra Poteet, Chief Financial Officer, and Jim Romo, Legal Counsel. Labor Relations Buena Park Teachers Association, Government Conference Code number 54957.6. Labor Relations California School Employee Association, Chapter number 569. Government Conference Code number 54957.6. Labor Relations, Non-Represented Management and Confidential Contract Employee, Government Code number 54957.6. Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chong.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0. The governing board meeting is called into closed session today at 6:12.
There's a bunch that are like, yeah, yeah.
What are you, junior?
She's a junior now.
Yeah, we have like 6 juniors that are really good.
Do I have a motion to reconvene?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Michelle.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0. Governing board meeting reconvened at 7:20. Reporting out of closed session, let the record reflect that there was no action was taken in closed section. Adjournment, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. Thank you, Ms. Ahmad. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 5-0 at 7:21.